FOG Andrew here, and the coach here for Family Gamers. Welcome, War Gamers, to an exciting, awesome episode. This is a pretty big video for us, I think. We played a lot of games in the last, 10 to 12 years.
We've been playing games.
We've been playing a lot of different miniature games, board games, miniature games, stuff like that. But in this video, we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite miniature games. So we got 5 choices plus an honorable mention, but we each have a different list of top 5 games. I feel like 1 or 2 might be in the same spots. We don't know what each other's lists are.
Pull back the curtain, let everybody know that we talked about the video, honorable mention, top 5, put them in order, talk about them, but not sharing with each other till we film the video.
Exactly.
So I don't know what your top 5 is. You don't know what my top 5 is. We're both going in blind. I am on the base. Andrew is flying blind in the spaceship.
Yes.
But here we go.
Yes.
So Andrew, what is your first honorable mention?
Well, my honorable mention, which might come as a surprise, is going to be 40K.
No.
It's going to be 40K.
What? Wait.
It's going to be Warhammer 40K. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
This isn't, like I said, this is an honorable mention, okay? We have not, or at least I have not, played 40K in a long time, okay? You've played, I think, with Fabian, like, what, 9th edition or something like that?
Yeah, so when... with the Necrons and the Space Marines, that box. I'm not sure which one it was. I think maybe it was 10th.
9th or 10th.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever it was. But the reason why it's my honorable mention is because of, like, not necessarily because of the game, but because of everything around it. Because of how, I mean, the Space Marines, like, in our hobby are iconic. All the other games that we play kind of stem from 40K.
Even though they say they don't, they do.
Yeah. I mean, everything does at this point. It's like saying, I didn't take inspiration from Catan, or I didn't take inspiration from, whatever. Like, no, this is like 40K is like the miniature game that, like, a lot of people think of, or at least when I, like, try to explain miniature games, it's like, oh, have you ever heard of Warhammer? And they're like, oh yeah. So the reason, like I said, it's an honorable mention, not because of the game itself, but because of everything else. I guess, like, the fluff, the lore, and everything else. Like, do I want to play 40K on its own? Not really. But the 40K board games that they have, the smaller kind of versions of like the 40K mythos, that's kind of the main reason why it's my honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it wouldn't be right to not have this on the list in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my reasoning for it.
Well, I was just picking games that I like to play, so, but okay.
Yeah,
that's your honorable mention.
It's my honorable mention, but
right.
What is going to be your honorable mention, Coach?
So my honorable mention is the Judge Dredd game by Warlord Games. There's 400 million people in the Mega City 1. Every one of them is a potential perp, and it's his job to figure it out. So what I like about this is, first of all, I'm a huge Judge Dredd fan, as you know. I love the characters, the lore, the background. I've read from his first appearance in Program 1 all the way to now. But the reason it's my honorable mention is because I like the characters and everything, and I enjoyed the game. It's a little clunky. The missions were not... I don't think they're well thought out. I think there should be I'd like to see a revamp of the missions. I would like to see just kind of maybe a fixing or an overhaul of it, because The rules are okay, but they're not that good. And the rule book, while stunning, like it's beautiful. The thing is that the information is kind of convoluted. It's hard to understand. Like you know, there's a few like when you're stunned. They don't really explain how it works and as far as a wound and whatnot. So that's what I see. But yeah, I do like it. That's my number five, my honorable mention. I'm sorry, my honorable mention. Although this is a game I'd like to play a lot more of, and maybe house rule it and fix it on our own.
Yeah, I Dread is definitely a solid game. I know we were talking about maybe getting the Dread and the Strontium to kind of mesh together into like one thing because we have both of them and they're kind of similar.
Well, Strontium came first, and this is based on Strontium, so
right.
It's the rules are similar.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Maybe get some mutants in there, and Johnny Alpha and Wolf, and
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That'd be that.
And the Gronk.
Right. Yeah. That'd be that'd definitely be cool.
Yes.
And actually play this again, and we have battle reports on this as on Dread as well.
We've done a bunch.
Yeah. All right. So my number 5, officially getting into the list. Okay. Is gonna have to be Flames of War. Now I know what you're thinking. Flames of War has definitely been a controversial game for us because like we got some Flames of War stuff back at like Adepticon 2016 or something.
Yeah, like 2,600 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then we never played it. Then COVID hit, and then we were like, all right, well, we ain't working. We ain't in school. I'm not in school. So let's play Flames of War. And then we did some videos on it, which, did pretty well. And, people were kind of helping us out with trying to get into Flames of War.
We also found that the Flames of War community are very passionate, and some of them don't mind cursing at you and telling you how stupid you are.
Yeah, that's also a good.
It was crazy because we got such a mixed result. Like some people were so like, all right, don't play that. This is why this is not working. Try this. Right. And then the only bad part was in the book. Every book that we get, it said, just go out there and try to kill each other, shoot each other, learn the things, and then start playing missions. And we played mission 1, which was basically kill each other. And everybody said, well, you shouldn't play that way. You should play missions. But it told you to do that. So
yeah. So we did some videos on that during the 2020 COVID incidents, and then we it was should we play Flames of War, and then we kind of did some stuff. I would definitely be interested to get back into Flames of War. The only thing is I just don't know what's the deal with new books and editions, because we got some books, we had some stuff, but then it was and then we were using the old books that weren't really up to date. Now there were new books that we had to get. So I'd have to look into it. But also
when we bought it, we bought a certain edition, and then right after we got that, the new edition with new points came out. So because it was weird because we were playing something like 1,500 points, and then everybody's like, no, you have to play the other one, and it's 200 points.
Right.
So I think that was the thing. We were playing it, and plus things were overly powered or underpowered, things that should have been aren't. So yeah, it was
Right.
It was bad, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was excellent.
Yeah. No, it is definitely a good game. It's obviously not higher just because of the fact that on the list, just because we don't play it as much as the other games that are on this list.
Right. Well, we should remedy that situation.
That is true. We should definitely do that. So if you guys want to see Flames of War videos, let us know down in the comments below.
Also, if you have a place for us to circumvent and get to the good information, we can disseminate that. That would be great.
So that is my number 5. Coach, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is Alpha Strike.
Okay, so not regular BattleTech, talking Alpha
I'm
Strike here.
talking BattleTech Alpha Strike, not
Okay,
BattleTech Classic Alpha Strike. Um,
gotcha.
Big Stompy Robots versus Big Stompy Robots. You had me at Big Stompy Robots. Um, I like the mechanics. Mechanics are great. We could just throw down. It's a war game that feels like a board game. And it really scratches both itches. It works good with a few mechs, and it works good with a lot of mechs. It's very
Mm-hmm.
fast paced. It doesn't lag behind. What I like is the I go you go. Okay, I really like that. I like their whole mechanic and the way things work. The gator, how you break things down, and I like, I don't know how you felt about it, but I liked playing with like the D12s instead of the 2D6s. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed that. I thought that was good. There was also another. We went to a shop and played with some veterans, and it was you roll a pilot dice and then you roll the rest of the dice, and it's like if you roll a 5, you add that to the other dice. So there's so many different ways to play that it makes it very interesting. Um, I just thought it was great. I like mini skyscrapers with that as the hobby guy and the 3D printing guy, printing the stuff up and then painting it, printing some of the mechs and using the stuff that they have online. The rules were really simple. I thought it was I really thought it was fantastic, and visually on the table just a bunch of robots. So you got some big ones, you got some medium ones, and then you got the little chicken ones with the the two legs running around, being really fast, like the wasp and whatnot. I just thought BattleTech was great. It's number 5 for me because we haven't really played it in a while. So similar to your number 5, it's a game that I really liked, similar to Flames of War, but we don't play it enough. So I'd like to play it a little bit more, maybe move up the list. But yeah, I really do love this game.
I will say that Alpha Strike was almost my number five, but I decided on Flames of War because I like the World War II theming a little bit more than the sci-fi. They're obviously completely two different games, but me, growing up with like the Call of Duty games and the old World War II Call of Duty games and stuff like that. It kind of I like the World War II historical theme a little bit more than the sci-fi, like a sci-fi theme.
Well, this was a tough one too because I was thinking it was either Flames of War or BattleTech,
Okay.
Alpha Strike. So because not for nothing, I'm a World War II nut. So
Yeah.
I think maybe through extension you put an extra number 5 for me, which was Flames of War.
Right.
But
Right.
but I think two solid choices for number 5.
Yeah. So, that being said, my number four, okay, is going to be a game that we got into pretty recently, and that's going to be Mantic's Armada.
Oh, there you go.
So, a couple years ago, this is kind of Coach's story. I don't really remember me saying this, but apparently I thought that ships were stupid, and that we shouldn't play Armada. Then we went to Adepticon last year, 2023, and we demoed it, and I was like, all right, I'm getting the Trident Realm. I need the Trident Realm, and like I it's a really good game. It's a really good game. The only thing that I will say is that this would be higher, but the only thing is like the first two rounds are so friggin' slow. Like I feel like if we were to like maybe come in like 6 inches on each side
Mm.
and like kind of shrink the field a little bit so we start like a slight bit closer, it would be better.
Well,
But because the first two rounds take so long, the game is like 6 hours. You know
but
what I mean? With only like five ships each. You know.
well,
But
but
other than that, I think the theming is great. I think the mechanics are great. I love angling ships for the cannons. Trident Realm is very different because you only have a front weapon. You don't have sides. I did try the dwarves and doing the dwarves with side guns and bat guns and stuff like that. It's definitely a different beast, and
that's
it's
what's
very different.
that's what's nice about the Trident realms and then some of the other ships is because they're so different, and that's what I like
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
I will say though, um, kind of like a lot of the historical games, this game has the feel where the first round, I agree with you in a way, but I kind of set myself up in the first round. So
Yeah.
maybe I don't fire one shot, but I'm getting myself set up so that the second or third round, now you're in trouble. So
Right.
maybe you don't move across the table so far, but also too you got to think they're ships, and
Yeah.
it's not like we're in say like an X-wing or something like that where we're really getting into it. We got to kind of like get to the battle and get ready, and I don't mind that first step.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, being a longer kind of skirmish game, it kind of feels like first two rounds nothing really happens. You might get one or two hits the first round, but then like really the only way to like do anything is to be within the 3 inches and get that double damage or the triple
Well,
damage.
that
You know,
it rewards you for strategic thinking. It rewards you for
right,
placement, and that's why maybe it takes a little bit longer. Like,
right,
can I get to you before you get to me?
yeah,
You know, that's
yeah,
that's that's you know, and you get rewarded for that, which I think is important.
right.
So,
I would be interested in doing a double mat, you know, 500-point Armada game.
but
The only thing is that that's going to take like
but if you're
15
if you're if you're
hours,
complaining about if you're complaining about the first round, now you're complaining about it. It's going to be even longer.
Right.
You know,
But I would be willing to get up at like 9 a.m. and play and for
wow, get up at
2 days
9 a.m.
to
Wow.
try and play it.
Okay.
But again, I do like the game. Really like the theming. This is the only game that we really play in the Kings of War Mantic universe.
Yes.
We haven't
And
really gotten into Kings of
Pathanor.
War. Yeah, we
Pat.
haven't really gotten into like Kings of War proper. Um, Maybe that will change soon. Who knows?
Who knows?
Um, but like I said, the theming, the mechanics are great. I love the not really using like a movement. You're like it's like a mix of ruler and movement tool, but they mesh together pretty well.
Well, it's not real. It's a turning tool.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean.
I know
Like
you're not using a specific like you move a medium or you move a large. You're moving in
right,
inches,
right,
which is fine, which is
right.
fine. And the movement makes sense because then you can just turn around. So you got to think about where you're moving, and that's
Yeah,
why certain ships like the dwarves have engines, or like the Empire of Dust have the oars, and they can move before or after a move
right.
action. So yeah, it makes a big deal. So
I've only played the Trident Realm and the Dwarves, um, but they're both good in their own way. They both have like good
they have their strengths and weaknesses.
stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, but I definitely want to try out some of the other armies like Empire of the Dust, the Basileans, the Orcs, and do all that. So
Elves. We have elves now too. So
yep, yep.
thank
Thank
you.
you for the
Shout out to the vault. The
to
vault
the
is
vault. Yes, thank you, Mantic Vault.
yes.
But that is my number 4. Coach, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so Marvel Heroes versus Marvel Heroes versus villains, heroes versus villains, villains versus villains, heroes versus villains, or a mix of villains and heroes, or heroes and villains from
I
the
think we get the point.
Marvel universe. Um, yeah, this is the game that I've wanted to play since I was a kid reading comic books, and when it first started, it was that whole Fantasy Flight thing, and then Atomic Mass Games came out and they're like, all right, we're going to be doing Marvel Crisis Protocol. And we're like, who the hell is Atomic Mass Games? But they've done Legion, Shatterpoint, and Marvel Crisis Protocol, and they had 3 of very good games. What I like about this, the first things first, is that you could take any number of Marvel heroes. They don't have them all yet, so you could play a bunch of different Marvel heroes. You can mix them with the villains. The the mechanics are solid. You know, you have um, your movement templates, and you have your range templates, which is not too bad. That kind of gets a little clunky in the way. And they have the cards, which has your stuff on it. I'm not a real big card guy. The only thing is the thing why it's not higher on the list for me, although I really enjoy playing it. Another thing I do like is the missions, where you get to pick how many points you do, and you make a thing on the fly. If you're doing competitive games, if you're doing a friendly game, you just say, "Oh, we're going to do X amount of points," but you choose the two missions, and then they are like you have two separate objectives. Plus, you have knocking people out or whatever. So there's a way to build up power and things like that. The only thing I don't like is like the turn zero, who goes first and who's this player. That to me just you know. I mean, I can live with it. I prefer not to do it, but I understand it's part of the game. You have to just kind of accept it. But in my opinion, I don't mind. I don't like it, but it's not a deal breaker for me. But I enjoy Marvel Crisis Protocol. On the hobby modeling side of it, I printed up a bunch of buildings, and we have like Hell's Kitchen. We have the Sanctum, you know, all painted up, printed and painted up, and just to have that stuff on a board and going through playing the game, a skirmish war game that not a video game of the characters I really grew up with, and now they're in movies and whatnot. Just really is good stuff for me. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, Crisis Protocol is I'm not surprised that it is on your list.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, MCP.
Yeah, we both enjoy playing this.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely fun. Lately we haven't been playing it as much, but I've been looking into.
You've been asking about it a lot.
I have been asking about it a lot. I definitely want to run my Web Warriors again.
You can run whatever you want. The Inhumans will wipe you guys out.
Well, yeah, because you always pick the most overpowered army. Anyway, so my number three is gonna be Test of Honor.
Wow.
Test of Honor.
I'm not going to say nothing. Go ahead. I'll
All
listen
right.
to you.
So, I love this game. I really do.
That is number 3?
This is 3.
Okay.
I love this game. I really do. You kind of got me into the whole Japanese samurai kind of thing. Made me watch Seven Samurai, the greatest movie of all time. So it's fantastic because the mechanics are amazing, because the whole concept of taking a token out of the bag, and it's kind of like it's semi-random, because really there's only 3 types of tokens in there. You got the Fate, your hero, and then the commoners.
Don't forget, now with the Sengoku rules, we have the clan.
Yes, the clan tokens as well.
Yes.
So but like you got the main tokens in there, and it's like, you got your hero token and your commoner token. It's like, okay, I might take all commoners, but I pull that commoner token. Which one am I going to take? Which one am I going to have go this turn? Okay, and then you don't have any commoners left. Okay, and then you pull a commoner token. Now it's my turn again. Like, it's just you're always like on edge with that game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just because of that kind of thing. The dice it's super simple. The dice rolling is super simple. Where you don't need a necessarily 8s or higher, or 4s or higher, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Pass or fail.
Yeah, it's just you pass or you fail. That's it. Very simple skirmish game. It's like pretty much kind of a lot of the things that I would want in a skirmish game, and for it to also be a feudal Japanese samurai game makes it even better. So again, another game we have not really played recently, but this is definitely something that we are gonna play hopefully soon. It is I remember at Adepticon when it was coming out and we demoed it, and we both looked at each other, we're like, I
Well,
remember I looked at you thinking like, oh, he's gonna buy this.
yeah, I
Like,
didn't even demo it. I just said I'm going to buy it just because.
yeah, well, and then we're like, well, we have to demo it just to see if it's good, you
Right,
know,
right,
and it of course was,
right. Yeah,
you know, and then you
Grant
have
knows the stuff.
yeah, and then you have all the terrain for it that you've either printed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's like literally like you feel like you're in a like you're back in time. You know what
Right,
I mean?
you're there.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really really good game, really good game. Um, and we also have battle reports and unboxings on this as well, that you can check out on the channel. But that is my number three, Test of Honor.
Mm. Okay, well, I'm going to go right to my number. My number three is Armada.
Okay, interesting.
Just like you said, a little higher up. I think I am enjoying the game. I don't want to say I'm enjoying it more than you, but there's certain things I like about it. It is a really good sea battle. There's a few mechanics that are different than other games. So, like like you were saying with Test of Honor, you have to reach into a bag and pull out a chit, and you don't know who's going to go. And the thing is with Armada is you could really set yourself up a certain way. Roll the dice and you move the sun, the wind sun, the wind dial. I'm sorry, the wind rose, and you're like, oh, I'm hoping it stays there so that the the uh, the initiative goes this way, and my four ships are going to go, and then the wind constantly it just changes, and it goes the opposite way, and the wrong ship goes first, and then your opponent's ship goes. I think that to me, that was when you said, "Oh, I'm not interested in it," and I watched a video. I think it was Rob Byrne was doing a video, and I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool. That's going to mess people up." And you were like, I don't know about it. I says, no, but there's something there. And then when we demoed the game, then you kind of like, all right, this is pretty cool because of that. Um, um, what I like about it, I disagree with you on the first round. I like the first round where I'm coming out and I'm starting to think about what to do. And you go, I go, you go, I go. And we start to kind of line stuff up and start to get strategy. And you, like you said, you want those doubles, you want those triple hits, but you got to set yourself up, and the game rewards you for that. And also, too, you got to think about, um, which when we started playing, we didn't really know about it, but now we're doing more grappling, and we're getting in there and like having your crew strength and doing the upgrades and stuff. So it's just coming up. Um, like we said before about the vault, we have a ton of stuff going on. We have the islands and all the ships that we need and stuff. And then with the companion app, which is kind of linked to it, we have everything we need to play this game. It's a lot of fun. I think it takes a long time for us when we're filming, but when we play it outright, it's only about an hour, if that. So
Yeah, I don't know about that.
well,
we
well, well.
we
No,
did
you
play a really long game.
think
We
about,
played a really long
but you got to
game.
think about that we keep looking at the rules. Now that we kind of got to grasp it, it goes a little bit quicker. We have to refer to
Yeah.
a few things. I know the docking is a little bit, and then when you're on fire, which you're always on fire. But other than that, it's been a lot better, a lot better. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's this is a solid game. Number three. Um, I just like that. I like games that reward you for strategy, and this is one of those games. Once you set up the thing, or my favorite thing is when like I had the dwarf ship, and I was almost surrounded, and I kind of parked in between. I was able to get a shot off left, shot off right, front and back, all the guns going, and that I was able to sink three ships in one go. The game rewards you for being a good tactician. I think that's important. Now it sucks for your opponent, but you got to kind of like when it happens to you, tip your hat. You're like, oh, that was a good move, and then you learn to do that. And when that happens, it's one of those So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
for me, I'm digging the game a lot. I'm really having a good time painting the ships. I didn't think I would, it's really out of my comfort zone. Um, I originally didn't. I was like, oh, I'm not too interested in it. But then when I started to look into it, I'm like, oh man, all right, we got to play this. So that is my number three.
Okay, all right. My number two might come as a little bit of a surprise.
Well, if it's anything like your honorable mention,
Well, no, we're going MCP for my
Okay.
number two. I have been
I can see
listen.
that.
It's Marvel. That's number one. Okay, and there's the problem is that I should do a video on this, where about like the quote unquote oversaturation of Marvel stuff nowadays. You have MCP, you have Unmatched has a Marvel license, you have Dice Throne has the Marvel license, you have Marvel Zombies, you have Marvel Love Letter of all things. Like all these games are getting the Marvel license, but I think the two games that do it well are Unmatched, which is not on this list because it's technically a board game. Me and Coach considered it a board game.
Yes, it's
Um,
it is it's a fine line between war and board game, but definitely
yeah,
we're going to consider it a board game.
yeah. Uh, and the other one would be MCP.
Right.
Are my top two Marvel games that are out there. MCP is fantastic. It's really good. I love the like you said, like you were saying with the objectives. You kind of you take your group of 10, and then you figure out your points, and then you make your list out of that. Then you go into like there's always like an objective where you have to secure the objective or pick up objectives. There's always like a lot of variety with different objectives, because a lot of skirmish games it's like you're doing one mission. No, this is you're doing two missions that are completely different, but they work well together no matter what the two objectives are.
Mm.
um the minis are fantastic. You painted the hell out of all of them. Printing the buildings, like you were saying, the sanctum, all that, it makes it come to life. This is like the game that I really enjoy. And I remember what happened. You guys like I was on my phone and I got an ad for MCP on Instagram, and then I because I remember the game coming out, but we never played it. And then I came upstairs. I was like, Dad, I was like, these models look awesome. And then you were like, yeah, like it's been out for a little bit, the game. I'm like, well, what are we doing?
Mm.
Let's order it. So we got the starter set, the core set, and the
Well,
Wolverine
originally,
Saber-tooth box, I think.
originally I said no, and then I ran into a few guys at the comic shop, and we started talking, and then I was like, "Yeah, I ordered MCP." You're like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. So that was definitely a good decision. And the other thing I like about it, not just Marvels and villains, but there's no faction kind of limitation. You're not stuck playing Avengers like you have to take these. No, I can take Ultron and Wolverine and Magneto
Yeah, I mean,
and Bullseye.
you could do
Like,
that. I mean, you got to do 51% of a faction, and then you could add some, like, say you want to take the X-Men, so you take 3 X-Men, and then you, like you said, you could take Ultron or Iron Man, who's not an X-Men,
right,
non-mutants, and you can
right,
mix it up that way. It's like the Inhumans. You have to take, like, maybe depending on the size of the game, if you take, let's say, 3 Inhumans and then 2 Avengers or 2 X-Men,
right.
it works out. It works out.
Yeah,
Or you could take, let's just say, you want to take 3 Inhumans and 2 villains like
right.
Crossbones or somebody who's or Zemo.
I like how it also doesn't punish you for not doing that. It doesn't punish you. It just gives you a slight buff. And it's not like too much of a buff where it's like, okay, like it's game breaking where it's like, okay, yeah, kind of have to take
It does
an affiliation.
But the affiliation, the perk of having the affiliation does help. It
No,
really does.
It does. But you don't have to now. But that being said, I most of the time do take an affiliation. But still, just having that option there, kind of also and then also the movement tools and the range tools are great. They're not like anything annoying or whatnot.
Right.
I've never really had a problem with that. I love cards, I love tokens, and I love dice. You hate cards and tokens, but like, those three things in a game make a game
Right.
pretty solid for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the cards and tokens, and I don't mind it in the game.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, the Marvel theme is just the cherry on top, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know.
Absolutely.
So, but that is my number two. Coach, your number two. What do we got?
My number two would be Test of Honor. Okay.
I figured this was going to be either one or two.
Yeah, yeah, it's up there. It's up there. So, I didn't really talk about it when you went, but that's why I knew that I had this number two. So, like you said, we went to Adepticon, we sat down and we played the game, and I just knew I was going to do it. And the guy gave an okay demo, but I could see the potential there. And then, Graham, who wrote the game, he did it for Warlord, but then he ended up going on his own. And sometimes you get a little bit worried about that, but he went on his own, and I think the game got better. And then he came out with the Sengoku book. So the Sengoku is the 100 Years of War. That was when the clans were fighting each other, basically for the power of Japan. And then at the end of that, Obu Nobunaga won, became the shogun, and united Japan. And then it was the 1,000 Years of Peace. So, but this is the era, the warring clans era. And the thing about the game is not just like, you can take the samurai or Ashigaru, which are the foot soldiers, but you can get the Sohei monks, or you can get the ninja in there, or you can get the Iki Iki, which was or Aiki Aiki, which were the kind of, they were the criminals and, things like that. They also have a set they call the Seven Ronin, which are based on the Seven Samurai, which, that like we said, our favorite movie, one of the best movies ever. The thing I like the most of this is the randomness. You pull it out, and you have to use strategy for that. That's the one thing. But the real defining moment for me is that the samurai were just bred for war and bred to kill, and the samurai themselves. Everybody gets confused with what honor is and what it. There was no honor on the battlefield. The honor was to the Lord, but also was the honor to samurai is to serve. So, but their thing was how to make warfare better. One strike, one kill, whenever. And with this, it's the brutality. Guys don't have 16 wounds. One strike, one kill. You have to be very, very smart. And like, all right, I'm going to come and attack you. You got to think, do I attack him? Do I move away? Do I do more mission? Do I kill the guy? You have to really it's a lot of strategy involved. And like you were saying with the Armada, this game, the first one or two rounds is just a lot of movement and getting ready, but that's an historical game for you. Because when you're getting close, it's so brutal that only one person's going to survive. And I think this game captures the essence of that in a great way. And modeling wise, the models are fantastic. He's been very good to us. He sent us the things to review, and we've done the battle reports. And I'm pleased that we were able to do that.
We also did an interview with him as well.
Yeah, and he told us about stuff like that. He wrote another game, 200 Hours, which is another good game. But yeah, just Test of Honor is just it's. I really can't find fault in the game. It's very good. It's really good, and I just always want to play it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just it was very tough for me to pick between number 2 and number 3. Either Test of Honor or MCP, but I ended up going with MCP as my number 2 just because the Marvel theme. You really feel that in MCP, but you also really feel the theme, the samurai,
the essence
Japanese,
of it.
theme in Test of Honor as well.
When you play Test of Honor, it's almost like watching one of the Kurosawa movies, like Yojimbo, or you're watching Seven Samurai, or you're watching Redbeard. It kind of recreates it in a way, that Shambara type
Right.
esque movie, and that's what he was going for, and I think he's achieved it. And I just love this game. I could play this game all the time.
Yeah.
And then modeling wise and hobby wise, just all the stuff that we've printed and painted, and it's on the table, and it's just visually stunning, and I really do love this game. And I know it's not the most popular game, whatever, but that's unfortunate because it's really fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about it, and it was a tough choice between this and my number one.
Mm-hmm.
This is really, I'd say, number one, like 1B. It's so close. It was like
Right.
a
Right.
nine
Right.
and 10.
Right.
So
Right. Right. Okay.
yep.
Our number ones. Okay. We're gonna do this at the same time. We're gonna reveal what it is. Okay. In three, two, one. That's the yeah that I figured. Yeah. Listen. I knew the hardest part was figuring out where the other games were gonna go on the list. It was easier to figure out. Like I knew that this was gonna be number one, without a doubt. Um, it's just you. It's the skirmish game.
Yeah.
Like it's like this is uh these
Well,
really it for me it is the skirmish game.
well,
You know,
let's talk about some of the positives. So, playing a 2x2 board with 3x3 cubes, not inches, cubes, and there are no movement tools, which is crazy in any game. But this game, you move within, cube to cube, 2 cubes, 3 cubes, whatever. Your terrain is multi-leveled. So if I want to move up one, I would move up 1, 2, and I can move up the cube. Um, when you shoot, there is no range tool to measure. You measure cubes. So if he shoots on the range is 6, you count 6 cubes, and that's the range. So that's the one thing. Um, think about also too, true line of sight. You know, I know there are other games like we was talking about Kings of War and stuff, and I know MCP does it where um, if you, let's say your model standing behind something and he's a size 2, but the car is a size 3, but your model actually is sticking above the car, you can't shoot him because the car should be this big and this big. This is more model friendly. This is more hobby centric where, all right, there's a rock there and I'm hiding behind it. You can't see me. I can't shoot you. But if you can see him, you're going to shoot him. And then we were talking about rewarding for strategy. If you can get yourself into a clear shot, you get rewarded for that. So, that's just a few of the mechanics that I love about the game.
yeah, I agree. And then, some of the other things that's like how easy dice rolling is. You're and it's 8 sided dice. You're rolling a base of 3, and then okay, I charge into combat. I'm getting an additional dice. Oh, I have,
You're bigger.
frenzy. I get to re-roll a dice. Okay, I'm bigger. I get to, or I'm a higher level than you, and I'm shooting at you. You know what I mean? Or if
Well,
I see full model. It's
there's
an
no
extra
math.
dice.
If you shoot on a
Right,
4, you shoot on a 4.
right,
The
right.
chances of hitting become better when you add more dice, and you
Exactly,
get pluses and
exactly.
minuses for that. So in
And
that,
like you said, it's the rewarding for being strategic.
right,
That's how they reward you. You're always getting a base of 3, but they reward you with extra dice for doing other
right,
things.
and then uh, when second edition came out, and they came out with the command dice, so you
Yeah,
could
that was
add
the other thing
dice, you
too.
could do
Yep.
this, you could do that, and then in third edition, let's say I have a command dice you can't use, like say I have a combat army and I get shoots, I can actually re-roll a dice. So it's the command dice aspect is fantastic with that.
Yeah.
Um, what about the factions? What do you think about the different factions?
Oh, like they knock it out of the park with, with different factions. Like of course me being a Rebs fan, I love the different aliens. They're all so different from each other. They have different things. You have the Forge Fathers who are like very meaty and tough, but you're taking less of them. But then you have like something like the Plague, where you might take like a bunch of zombies or a bunch of plague dogs, stage 2s. you got the Marauders. You know, there's different, you know, like in a skirmish game. I feel like it would be hard to like to do like a swarm army, but you can do that with Plague and kind of
Right.
Marauders. You have like the Maison, which are like a mix of GCPS and Plague. So you know, it's something, you know, different. It's like, oh, you want to do Plague and GCPS? Okay, there you go. You got the Maison. You know, you got the Nameless, who are like, you know, psychic stuff and like shooting, but also like they got this, you know, the Scuttlers that can go in and destroy. You know, it's just like the theming is also fantastic too. Like I it's crazy for me to say, but I think I like this better than something like 40K, where it's like a grimdark, like super far into the future. You know what I mean? Like super far. This like makes sense to me. You
Right.
know, um,
You
yeah,
know, and also too, um, you know, they made a few changes from second to third that I'm not too crazy about. But even with that, I still it hasn't diminished my love for the game. The thing
yeah,
is that certain factions they have now. You know, I know they're coming out with like say the Night Stalkers and the Matsudan. I hope they keep them unique, and I hope they make them you know something completely different. Don't just say, well, this guy should, you know, on a 4 and a 2, this is the combat guy, this is the shoot. They should
right,
really get really unique with it. Uh,
yeah,
um, what I like about this though is you can go with 8 to 10 models.
yeah,
Uh, you know, and the terrain itself is a part of the game where you know terrain is just something like line of sight blocking. This is the terrain is like without terrain, there's no dead zone. I remember when first edition came out, and we were still using. I'm sorry, second edition came out, and we were using the cards and stuff like that. And some guy online basically put like one building and a little fence with no cover. He said, "Oh, this game is horrible. This is stupid. This and that." And I said, you know, you're really not getting the full effect of the game. You're not putting enough terrain out there. And he's like, well, why are you being so rude? And I'm like, I thought I was talking to like Georgie the Goblin because, you know, he's like, why am I being so rude? I was giving him things. This is a game that, you know, you put a lot of terrain on the board and you really just, you have to put a lot, it's got to be choking. It's got to be close, you know, CQB
yeah,
and it's got to be like claustrophobic. That's the only way to play this game. If there's too many open spaces, it's not. You know, you might want to put two buildings on there and kill each other, and that might be the way you want to play. I like it where there's just too much terrain, and like you even say to me, you would say, "All right, that's enough terrain," and then you leave, and I come back and I add like 5 or 6 things because I want if that's enough, it's not enough because there has to be too much,
right,
and that's the way I like to play it. The mechanics, you go, I go, and then if you have a command dice, you could do two in a row, but you can only go twice. It really answers a lot of questions. I think it's the most solid rule set. You know, I mean, listen, I love Test of Honor; it's great, but I think Dead Zone edges it out a little bit just because of what it does. You know what I mean?
right. I also feel that Dead Zone is a it's very modular, where you know you're also, it's like, okay, I take an army, you take an army. Obviously, we're making lists, but then making that board with the cubes and not doing like, okay, this one's going to be like that and that building's going to be like that. It's like, no, you just throw a bunch of buildings on there, you know what I mean? And then it's just,
You can't be wrong. And then if
yeah,
it's like, yeah, we have too much space here. You throw some boxes or some rubble or something like that to
right,
hide behind. You're like, all right, now we
right,
got cover.
right,
You know,
right,
which is good. And like I said, if it's really claustrophobic and you can get a clear shot, you deserve to get a clear shot, and you deserve
yeah,
to get the +2 for shooting. You know, for a clear
right,
line of sight.
right, right,
So yeah,
right,
so I'm not surprised it was number one for both of us,
yeah, me
but
neither.
it's worth being number one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I will say, going back to the vault, it's got a lot of good stuff in it to print up for this. So I am not the guy. Um, you know, sometimes people do, you know, like you make your army a certain way. and then, oh man, I wish I would have modeled this and that. I'd rather just buy the guys and have
Yeah.
everything, so that when I choose, I could do whatever I want.
Mhm.
Not proxy. I want to have the WYSIWYG, and it's easy when it's 9 to 10 models. When it's 300 models, it's tough.
Right.
You know. So,
Right.
but yeah, Dead Zone is number one for both of us.
Yeah, to 100%. 100%. Like I said, I knew that this was going to be number one right away. Like, and then I had to figure out where to put the other ones. That was the hard part.
Yeah, I got to tell you though, it was really, for me, Dead Zone and Test of Honor were really at number one. But like, I had to sit down, and it was, you know, I know we're just doing a cute little video here just to, you know, to talk about stuff like this, but like it really was like, man, you know, but I love this about Dead Zone, but I love this about Test. For me, it was hard, but Dead Zone kind of just edged them out a little bit. That's
right.
You know,
Yeah.
for all the aspects of it. And then as far as a hobby, man, I've made snow, I've made desert, I've made overgrown, like you know, it remind me like Indiana Jones in the rainforest type, all that kind of different aspects you could put in there. And you know, and now we're doing some kind of rocks and plants and things like that that'll really make it look different, but you know, still stay the same, still stay true to the original game.
Right, definitely. But that's our list, guys. In the comments below, let us know what your top 5 miniature games of all time are. Definitely be interested
at this point, because new games come out, and you know, the list might change, but
right.
What is
maybe we do this again in 2025 and then see what changed. You know what I mean?
None of these might be on there. Let's see what stands the test of time.
Right. But that's it for this video, guys. There's some more videos on the screen that you can check out that we posted in the past. We have pretty much videos on all of these games on the channel. So if you guys are interested, check those out. And subscribe if you're new. We got plenty of more videos coming out in the future. And also let us know what you want to see down in the comments below from us here on the channel. And that's about it, guys. See you in the next one.